Okay, Steve Bergen here. This video assumes you know a little something about Hopscotch, and now you want to learn how to do text objects. So it turns out you don't have to choose the monkey, right, or the frog, but you can go all the way to the right and choose a text object. So I'm going to type for this one, right, the word Steve. And now I'm going to start my program. And when the play button is tapped, I want certain things to happen. So I'm going to go movement, and I want move, and I want rotate, and I want control, and I want repeat. And always remember that you have to, you got to make sure that the object is showing and you leave a trail. So you know from previous work that this would make something walk around. So I will go repeat 4 times for a square and leave a trail and repeat 90 so it's a square. But now it's going to be with the text object called Steve. So when I choose play, this is what I'm going to get. The word Steve walks around the square because Steve is the monkey. Steve is the turtle. Steve is the object. Because Steve is the object, you can use the command called set text. And you can set the text to something that is actually a variable. So if I go down to variable, and I create set variable, and I'm going to add a variable called x, and I'm going to set it to be equal to 1. If I then say set the text to the variable x by dragging x in, whoops, then text, which used to be Steve, is now the variable x. And so now, as it goes from side 1 to side 2 to side 3 to side 4, Steve changes to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, because this command set text is the text of the costume itself, the character itself. So let's move a distance of 300. That was a mistake. Set it to X. See if you can picture what it's going to look like. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Now it's doing ones all around because I must have a bug. I wanted to increase it by 1, so I'm going to find the command called change variable, and I meant to increase it so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4 as it goes on the side. So now I think I have to change this to 0. So now it'll increase by 1. The text will become 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when I play 1, 2, 3, 4. It turns out this is the way, and you'll see this in the next lesson, that you can make the numbers from 1 to 100 actually be added up and be seen on the screen by using the set text command. I tell you what, there won't be another video. This will be it. Repeat 100 times. Okay? I will create a new variable called counter. And you'll watch as I create the variable. I will change the counter by 1. I will create a new variable called total. And I will make the total start off to be 0. And each time counter gets bumped up to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, then we're going to have the variable total will be increasing by counter. Whoops, sorry, wrong one, right down here. So counter gets bumped up by 1, total gets bumped up by counter. So we're trying to add up the numbers from 1 to 100. If I set the text to total, get X out of here, sorry, get total in here, then 1 plus 2 is 3, so it'll show 3 on the screen. 3 plus 3 is 6, it'll show 6 on the screen. Now I'm not sure I want it doing anything on the bottom, but I'll just have it go around in the square. That's okay. Let's play it and get some satisfaction. The number it's showing is the subtotal as it adds from 1 to 100. The number keeps changing because it's the object called text. At the end of this, if I let it run to the end of this, it would show 5,050, which is the sum from 1 to 100. But you see how slow it is, and there's no wait command, so it's just a slower environment. So I'm not sure I'm going to let this run to 5,050. Take a look at the program again and make sure you understand it. You create variables, but you really can't see those variables unless you do something with the set text command. Set text is there in green, but it's not there until you have a text variable. So if I go back to menu and I save this, and I will just call this sum to 100. Before I say goodbye, let me just show you again that what you have. At this point, if you have this kind of object, then there's nothing in green over here that says text, and you won't see the text, and therefore you'll be frustrated in your use of variables. But as soon as you press the plus sign, which I just pressed, and you go over to the right and you choose a text object, that text object, whatever you want it to be, your name, so you can put your name here, that's where you will get your animation, which is very cool. So you can have your name scroll across the screen. You can say repeat 100 times, and you can say move a distance of 1, and then as you play it, your name is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Remember that the screen is much bigger in Hopscotch than it is in Scratch. It looks to be about 1,000 plus pixels to the right, and about 700 going from top to bottom, maybe 750. And your object can be moved to any spot that you want, so that monkey character could be moved to over here. The word name could be moved over there. Your script, which is underneath your program, is making the word name animate as it goes from left to right. So name is just something no different than monkey. It's just the object that you're moving. But the key element in using this with variables is that the variable can be the text of name. In other words, you see how it says green set text on the left. It's there in appearance because we're using a text variable. If I click on the monkey, it doesn't say anything about set text. In fact, it says change costume instead of set text. So if you have a variable, and you have that variable called X, and whatever you put into that variable, that variable called x can be put into text. So you can say set text to be x. So now when I run my animation, the number 33 is animating across the screen. Sorry for the New York City noise here, by the way. So if you want to change the variable, you can change the variable each time, and then when you run it, you have something that looks like a counter. Whoops, I got a bug. Change variable x, by 1. My bug is that it always goes back to 33, so this needs to be here, and that gets rid of my bug. And now it's counting and animating at the same time. Like anything, it takes practice, practice, practice. Good luck with this, and hope this little mini lesson in text objects in Hopscotch works for you. Bye, everybody.